Hi, my name's Leanne. I'm an award-winning makeup artist and I'm here to help you with your makeup. This video is going to be about simple eyes, so something that you can do for every day that's nice and quick and easy. So for every day, depending on what how much time you've got in the morning, it depends on your lifestyle, what your job is, as to what you can achieve on the morning, but just something, for most people, just something quite nice and quick and easy. So I'm going to do, we've got our base, and if you get any creasing or anything on the eyes, before you apply your colour, you need to make sure these creases are smoothed out, because if you don't, then the creases will go through to the next level, the next layer. But if you've used an eye primer, then this shouldn't really happen anyway. So I'm just going to use a really light colour, just a light sort of almost sort of translucent face powder colour, just to go over the eye, just go over the foundation. So I'm just taking this from the lash line in the inner corner up to the socket line, and just the same on the other eye. So this just gives a nice lightened effect to the eye. So again, if you haven't had your 8 hours sleep, this is going to brighten up the eye a lot. And then I'm just going to do, I first want to show you what we call a transition colour. So this is just to, and you may not want to do this every day, this might be your evening look. Everyone is slightly different. Again, it depends on your lifestyle and how much time you've got. But I just want to show you a transition look just to emphasise the eye contour and the socket line as well. So I'm just getting a really light natural colour like Wedge from MAC, which is just kind of quite a lightish sort of brown. And what I'm going to do is just work this into the socket line. So from the outer corner, just working it into the socket line, stopping about here. You don't really want to be bringing any sort of darkness into the inner corner. It's nice to kind of keep that quite nice and light, but we're just going to use that just into that socket line. My favourite eyeshadow brush is by MAC. It's a 239S, which is this one here. And then I've also got in my other hand a blender brush. So the blender brushes are normally a bit more dome shaped, a bit fluffier, so we can blend the colour if we need to. Having said that, when you're using really light colours, they don't normally need a great deal of blending. So it's mainly more for use when using darker colours. But if you see a line appearing at any time, then that's something that you need to blend. That's when you know you need to blend the eyeshadow. So I'm doing the same on the other eye, and I'm just working the Wedge, the light sort of browny colour, into the socket line. You can take it slightly higher if you want to, make it more of a transition colour. I'm also doing a slight bit of blending with my eyeshadow brush, so I'm just blending up so it's slightly higher. Now how high you want to take this is up to you. Some people don't like to take the transition or crease colour too high, they like to keep it quite low. It's whatever you're comfortable with. And also it depends on the gap between the brow and the lashes. Now also on my right eye it tends to drop a bit lower than my left eye, so I tend to raise the transition colour or the crease colour slightly higher just to level that out. So if you can also use this to balance the eyes. If your eyes aren't exactly the same, and most people's aren't because the two sides of the face are not symmetrical, you can use this to balance out your eyes. So it's just very, very light. A good brush will make this really easy for you. So a good quality product in the powder and the brush will make it so much easier. So if you find in the brushes that you've got that you're struggling to do it, maybe try a different brush and you might find it a lot easier. I'm going to do a little bit of blending. So with my blender brush, I'm just going to go over the whole effect that I've done, the colour where I've placed it. I'm just going to go over the whole area and just make sure it's seamless. And that's the, you know, the difference or the difficulty that most people have if they struggle with eyeshadow. It's because they're not blending fully. So make sure your brushes are clean. If you've got, particularly on your blending brushes, if you've already got colour on there, it's going to impact how the eyeshadow is going to look. So it's always good to keep your brushes nice and clean. I just clean them in warm water and liquid soap, liquid hand soap. And it's always quite handy to have a clean blender brush handy, just to go over any area that you want to really sort of clean up and make it nice and fresh. If your brushes are dirty, you're not going to get that clean sort of look. You're going to get it quite muddy, murky, and it's not all going to blend nicely. All the colours are going to blend together, which we don't want. So I'm not going to do any darker than that. I'm just going to keep it quite light in the crease or transition. Or socket line, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to get some fresh brushes and I'm just going to go over just with a light colour, and I'm going to use Naked Lunch by MAC, which is a light, what I call kind of ballet pink. So it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, which is quite nice. And I'm just going to place this just above the lash line, just so we've got a nice sort of lighting up of the eye. Take it a little bit into the inner corner as well, and the same on the other eye. And use the brush flat to the eyelid, so you don't want to be sort of pointing it with the tip of the brush, so you want the brush flat, and just gently sweep it across. And then with my clean blender, I'm just working between the two colours just to get that seamless. If you don't want to do the crease effect, you can just do the Naked Lunch with the light colour, just to keep it nice and simple. So we're not going to go too dark or anything. Just got a little touch more there for the inner corner. And just look up for me. So we've kept it nice and light. And just close again for me. That's lovely. So for sort of every day, you want to keep it quite simple, 1 or 2 different colours. Don't make it too technical for yourself. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of eyeliner. So as I showed on a previous, the eyeliner and mascara, simple look. I'm just going to use my little angle brush and just pressing it in Brun by MAC, which is just a deep brown. And I'm just going to add just a bit of eyeliner. You can do this with your with a pencil, a kohl as well if you want to. And as I said to you in the eyeliner video, just press it into the lash line rather than trying to create a line. Just press it into the lashes and it will be super easy for you. And I'm just going to add, just open for me, just going to add a little bit of mascara. Don't want that clumpy bit on there. At the moment I'm liking the Pure Fully Charged mascara. I like it for its lengthening, volumizing. It's nice for every day. You can just put one layer on just for every day, or you can really volumize it up for evening and put 2 or 3 layers on. So just getting to the root of the lashes and just lifting through, a slight wiggle or zigzag if it helps to separate and add that volume. And just look forwards for me. That's lovely. So it's up to you how voluminous you want your lashes to look. If this happens, and this often does happen, you get a little smudge, particularly if you've got sort of fairly long lashes like Alison's got. It's always handy to have cotton buds or Q-tips around just to, if you get any smudges or you want to correct anything, cotton buds are brilliant for just doing that. So try not to remove your makeup, try and just correct it, either with your cotton buds or a little bit of concealer, rather than having to take it off and start again. I'm just going to put a little bit on the lower lashes. Just look up for me. Again, just nicely separated, not too heavy. Just a little bit there, but if you don't want to put mascara on your lower lashes, you don't have to. If you prefer it without, which a lot of people do, that's fine. And just a little clean up under the eyes. So you could do this with or without foundation. You don't have to have foundation on if you don't want to. Just a little concealer brush. The main difference between a concealer brush and an eyeshadow brush, they look kind of similar size, similar shape. Just cleaning up that area so it's nice and fresh, nice and clean. Yeah, so the main difference between, they don't look dissimilar, but with a concealer brush, or as I call them, wet brushes, so they're using in creams, liquids, it's more of a silky texture to it, whereas a powder brush is fluffier. So it's quite useful to have you know, a couple of each of those brushes, just so you've got something for every day. Obviously we haven't added any cheek products or anything. This is just a simple everyday look. I'm just going to groom the brows a little bit. What I tend to do with brows is that I always look at the kind of eye makeup I'm wearing, how much eye makeup before I do the brows. So the brows tend to be the last thing that I'm doing, because I want that balance. So if it's a very light eyeshadow, like we're doing, a light eye, then we don't want the brows too heavy. If we're going in for a smoky eye, which I'll show you on another blog, then we can take the brows a little bit darker. So you've always got that balance to your face. So as you can see there, I just get my little spoolie. So this is a disposable mascara wand, but you can get a brush that's this sort of shape, just to brush through, because this sort of helps you shape the brows to begin with. So just give them a little sort of brush and outwards. Then whatever product you apply with the brows, it's really kind of down to you and what your preference is and what works with your hairs. So I always tend to start with a powder. That's the lightest finish, so definitely for every day. If you want to fill in your brows, Alison's got nice brows anyway, so she wouldn't necessarily have to do anything, but we might add a little bit of powder, or you can use a pencil. It depends how much definition you want, how much darker you want to go. And another thing as well is the eyebrow mascaras, which are great for just adding a little bit of colour and holding the brows in place. So it's a nice sort of everyday thing to use. So as I said, what I'm going to use is a brow mascara. This is one by Tarte. I love this because it's got like a micro brush to it, so it's a tiny little wand. It looks like the miniature mascara one, but it's actually for the brows. And these products are great for every day. You know, you don't have to work too hard at them. So providing you haven't got too much gapping in your brows, like Alison's got a lovely shape there already, you can just use these. They add a bit of colour, just keep them in shape as well. So just work it through, like your spoolie, like we did with the spoolie, but obviously this is adding a bit of colour, a little bit more definition, but it's something very quick and easy to do for every day, just to give that little bit of definition. So just combing that through. I kind of do like an upwards and outwards motion, and then on the tip or on the tail, I like to just sort of comb it downwards so you get a nice sort of shape, a sort of groomed shape. So upwards and outwards, and then finish it off by bringing it downwards. If it's, as I've used before, just use, if it's not the perfect shape, just use your little cotton buds just to perfect that. Again, go over any areas if you want it a little bit darker. You can just add a little bit more, but I think these are brilliant for everyday quick and easy brows. So that's my video for a quick everyday look, and I'll see you next time.